Geekazine and Geek Smack is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network over at techpodcast.com. If it's tech, then it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the episode we call Geek Smack, or the show we call Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek like a hermit crab would smack out of his old shell and get into a Lego shell. Upgrade the right way, I always say. We've got a great show for you today, and today we're going to be talking about Apple. It's getting close to hitting that $1,000 a share mark, and we're going to take a look at it and see if it's good or bad for Apple. We're going to do that, but first of all, we're going to let you know that we're brought to you by GoToMeeting over at GoToMeeting.com. You can get yourself a 30-day free trial. Over at Roku, if you go over to Geekazine.com/Roku, you can get yourself a over-the-top television device for as little as $50. Stitcher smart radio, internet radio for your mobile device. Go over to Stitcher.com/geek and you could win yourself $100. And then, of course, all the video switching, so on and so forth, we do is used by Telestream and Wirecast. Get yourself a great way to create your own live webcasts by going over to Geekazine.com/Wirecast PC or Wirecast Mac, depending on your flavor. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into this show. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to the show we call Geek Smack, the show that we do every single Tuesday for Wednesday consumption, along with your bacon, your eggs, and maybe even a little whistle like this. You like this? This is, I got this in the mail the other day. This is, when I went out to South by Southwest, there was one session called Beer and Bots with Dean Kamen and Maiwa Denke. And Maiwa Denke is he makes these whistles. I was hoping to get the Otumwe or something like that. It's basically kind of like a theremin if you're a musician, where basically you slide up and down the little note, and it'll actually change the tune. But they gave me the Chihuahua whistle instead. So of course it's going to go up here onto the wall in the back, right there, next to Mickey Mouse. So we have Mickey Mouse and we have the Chihuahua. And of course, this is pretty cool. I've been trying to read some of this information here. Of course, it's all in Chinese, in a language I can't really read. So maybe someday I will get this all translated. Maybe somebody is watching the show and would like to translate it. I don't know. Anyway, been a very laid-back week here at Geekazine, and except for one thing, and that is last week I did do something that I said I wasn't going to do, and that was I uncut my connection. And the reason why I uncut my connection was because Charter actually had a special. I was getting the fast internet connection anyway, and they said for $2 more you could have the basic cable. So I did hook it back up. It's great because I can get the news that I really want, as opposed to the Roku, which had some news on there, but it wasn't really flipping my trigger. So I was happy to bring those channels back. Plus, you got Storage Wars and Chopper. Now, and it's also because of that Netflix thing. I mean, Netflix has gotten horrible lately, and I rarely go to Netflix now to watch anything. In fact, I think this is going to be the last couple weeks that I have Netflix. So that's basically what's happening here. Otherwise, everything else has been doing pretty good. We get nice warm weather, and we got a nice show. So let's get it started over at the Tech Smack. Let's get the tech news out of the way.
Tech Smack.
All right, and we've got your Tech Smack, and we've got a lot of great stuff here coming soon. Oh yeah, by the way, I voted today. I voted for Nichelle Nichols. We'll talk about that in a minute. So. But of course, we're brought to you by our friends over at GoToMeeting. Meet smarter with GoToMeeting, now with HD faces. Now, I'm going to actually have a meeting a little bit later today. A whole bunch of guys are down in Texas, and we need to meet and actually do a podcast. So I'm going to use GoToMeeting to create the audio for the podcast, which is pretty cool. I meet all the time using GoToMeeting. It's a great program, and it just never fails, and that's the beauty of GoToMeeting. With HD faces, it's like you're looking at me and I'm looking at you. I can share the desktop. I can make you the presenter. We can even set up pen tools so we can draw on the screen. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like that. And when I go like this, you go, wait a minute. You're confused. What's the problem? I say, well, I don't understand this. And then you explain it. And then the meeting gets all that much better. How can you go wrong with this? How can you go wrong with this? It's a great program. Check it out yourself. Put it into your business toolbox. 30-day free trial by going over to gotomeeting.com. That's this link over here. Go to meeting.com. You'll see that little try it free now button. You'll click on that try it free now button, and then it'll get you here, and you enter in that promo code podcast. Podcast will help not only help you get that 30-day free trial, but it'll also keep the lights on here at Geekazine. So I thank you very, very much. All right, and that's over at gotomeeting.com. All right, let's get into your news for today. And we're going to start, where are we going to start? Not there. We're going to start over here. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of a sad day. You saw a little bit of that, and we'll talk about that right now. Cassandra, Castroid. Her name is Cassie Wright Jolly. And apparently last week, they didn't really say what happened. That's okay. That's not neither here nor there. The important thing is on Monday of last week, she passed away. She was part of a tech podcast called Saved by the Cell. We got news on Thursday or Friday that she passed away. They've got a podcast right here. And basically, the blog post says, it's with sad and heavy heart that I reflect on the passing of my co-host, Cassie Wright Jolly, a.k.a. Castroid. She was a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, but to me, she was someone I talked about cell phones and tablets with each and every week. So we heard about the passing of Cassie. It's a sad day over at Tech Podcast Network, and wish everybody, her family, she's got 2 daughters. It's just a sad day there. So this moment of silence goes out to Cassie Wright Jolly over at Saved by the Cell. All right, moving on from there. Check that out, Saved by the Cell. Another thing that happened over the weekend, we knew about it for a few months now, but Mediafly has taken off their on-air area. Basically, what you could have done, you went over to onair.mediafly.com. You could actually find podcasts such as Geek Smack and The Day in Tech History and iPad 365. Not anymore. They announced at the beginning of the year that they were going to completely close down the on-air section, so the podcast aggregator was to be no more. I tried to inquire a little bit more about it because I think it's a sad thing that you have a great service like this that just disappears, and they never really replied to me. They're basically saying that they're focusing more on business. In fact, you might have seen the whole transition over at This Week in Tech. They were using Mediafly's services, and now Mediafly is done. So their business services are still there, which means that if you need a corporate account to pass video with your employees, then you might want to check out Mediafly. But they've basically gotten rid of the consumer area. It's kind of sad, but in this time and age, free models don't really work for a lot of people, and it was a sad day. So. All right, let's move from here. We're going to go over to Mashable.com. Of course, April Fools happened on Sunday. April Fools, of course, every single year there's a whole bunch of people that go out and create fun little things to do on the web, and like, for instance, Think Geek and the Hungry Hippos, which I still think should be an actual iPad attachment. But of course, I do something every single year. I've been doing it for the last 10, 12 years. Every year on April Fools, I do something on one of my websites that I'm putting together. Back in the 2000s, when I was doing my cartoon website, Toonst, we would do cartoon swaps. So basically, we would get up on a group and we'd say, okay, this cartoon and this cartoon would pair, this cartoon and this comic. This comic and this comic would pair. So 1 year I was paired with a very popular comic. I don't even know if it's out there anymore, but the whole point is that we had a lot of fun with it. So And of course, the fun has not changed, and that's what Mashable talked about. Conan O'Brien taking over Mashable for the April Fool's Day. He had a video out there. It was very cool and very funny. But my question to you, Conan O'Brien, is how come you don't do that here? Why don't you come over to Geekazine and just take over the network forever? You can. I'll let you. You can have it. Well, not without price. You got to pay a couple dollars for it. Maybe $1. I will give it. I will offer to Conan O'Brien for $1. You want Geekazine.com for well, I'll have a little bit of stake in it, But for $1, you can have Geekazine.com. That's the offer. If you want to take me up on it, go for it. Let me know. Geekazine@gmail.com. Of course, my Twitter is Geekazine. Geekazine is my Twitter. Conan O'Brien, you want Geekazine for $1? Let me know, and you'll get stake in Geekazine. And then you can plaster your name. We can make it orange, and we can do whatever we want. But in the meantime, check out Mashable.com. You think that Conan will notice that and say, yeah, I'll take Geekazine for $1? I don't know. Check it out. Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine, or Twitter Conan at Geekazine if that happens. So anyway, there were a lot of other April Fool's stuff, and I think we've got another link on April Fool's stuff, including the 8-bit maps. A lot of little bits and things, and it wasn't as exciting as this year or last year's April Fool's joke. The Hungry Hippos game, that was the coup de grace. It's like, I think that ThinkGeek is trying to use April Fool's Day to try out new products, and if people like it, then they'll actually make them into something. Because 2 years ago they did that with the iCade, and look at what happened. iCade actually became a product. Anyway, Mashable.com for that. Let's move on. Let's go over to the Washington Post. Yeah, the Washington Post. That's where we are for this article right here. Consumer Reports is recalibrating their excellent rating for new iPad. Excellent! Actually, it's not excellent. It's now very good. So apparently that Consumer Reports has tested it out, and they're saying now in the day and age of all these tablets that are coming out, it's a good, very good iPad, but it could be better. They weren't really impressed with the iPhone 4 either. So, and of course, the biggest thing about the iPad is the heat that comes from the iPad, even though Apple says it's within working parameters and everybody's given the okay on it. It's still a problem, and a lot of people have a problem. I still say that this is just a way to make money. Somebody make a case with a thermal heatsink on it that turns your case and cools the whole thing down simply because you got the case attached. And I'm surprised nobody's come out with it just yet. Maybe they have, and I haven't heard about it yet. But a thermal case, just the thermal backing on a regular case, make it cooler, and it will. So anyway, check it out. It's over on WashingtonPost.com. If you haven't heard, Google Wallet's co-founding engineer, he switches over to Square. Of course, last week Square announced that they are now on Android devices, and I talk about that on Android 365, which was my April Fool's Day joke. Rob Van Buren worked at Google for more than 8 years with Near-Field Communications, Google Wallet, which is basically Near-Field Communications is where you have two computers close by, and then they can communicate if they're within a certain distance. Like I could actually have it set up where this one would talk to this one. Okay, I already do have that set up, where this one could talk to this one, but without a wireless signal. And so I could actually say, I want to take this file and I want to move it over here and be done with it. And it would be literally that easy. Google Wallet had that same idea. You take the phone and you move it up to the source that you want, maybe a pay terminal or something like that, and then all of a sudden Google Wallet makes the payment. So, and of course Google had its problems with Google Wallet, and so I'm not sure why Rob Van Buren is leaving for Square, probably because he's got a better opportunity over there. But he's now making the jump over to Square, and it's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens, and we'll keep you informed. news.cnet.com for that article. Speaking of which, hey, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we've been making a lot of changes over at Geekazine.com. In fact, I just made an interesting change. I added a plugin. I thought I was really happy with some of the plugins I had on, but a lot of the plugins were actually slowing down my WordPress site. So I changed up my plugins, and I've got two great plugins that I'm going to be talking about down the road that are really helping me figure out what's wrong and figure out, this website's been around for 4.5 years now, almost 4.5 years, getting close to 5. I think it is 4.5 years, getting close to 5. And so there's going to be things wrong with it from, the posts back in 2007. So I'm fixing it up, I'm working it up, and I've got these plugins, and I'll be talking about that very soon. You check that out over at Geekazine. Of course, you can check out everything over at Geekazine. Got a lot of great shows. All right, let's move on. We're going over to TechCrunch.com. Pinterest co-founder Paul Sciarra, not Paula, Paul Sciarra. This isn't a Jack and Jill show. Paul Sciarra leaves Ben Silberman officially taking on the CEO role. So if you haven't been to Pinterest, I've actually had a beef with Pinterest in the last 72 hours. They found that there are spammers getting onto Pinterest and making lots of money. In fact, I think it was Mashable talked about one spammer that was making $1,000 a day. I tried, and it was basically through Amazon links. Now, I do throw Amazon links up from time to time onto my Twitter, onto my Google+, onto my Facebook, because, a little bit of extra revenue for somebody who's doing their own thing is always nice, because, I still got to pay my bills, and I'm not there 100% on getting all my bills paid in time. So a little thing like an extra added stream from Amazon is nice. Well, some people take it to the extremes. But I tried doing that on Pinterest, and within 24 hours, they actually put in a script that actually takes out my affiliate codes. So putting up something like that on Pinterest is just not possible. For some of you, you'll like that idea because you don't want those ads, and I completely understand that. Because I'm not up there posting ads left and right. I'm actually posting up other stuff that's interesting. And but on the same token, I'm a little bit peeved because they're taking out my links out of my links that I'm posting up there. And as far as I know, they might be putting in their own affiliate codes and making money off of that. That would be wrong. A shared link code, yeah, I could understand that. Putting it, I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do. And we'll find out, because Ben Silberman's now taking the CEO role. He'll make some decisions such as that. They've definitely got to curb the spam on Pinterest. But there's a lot of ways we can do that, and there are ways we can work around getting that, so I can still make a little bit of cash from Amazon, and of course be a part of Pinterest. So check that out. It's over at TechCrunch.com. Let's move on from there. Oracle and Google are going to go to trial. Of course, Google and Oracle having they've had this back and forth about the database for a while here. There was a decision that was supposed to be required by April 9th, and Google proposed an offer that included a cut of Android's revenue stream through 2018. But Oracle just says, no, this is all patent infringement. We want to go after you. So interesting stuff. We got it linked over at cnet.com, so you can check that out, read more about that, and go from there. A little bit of IT news for you guys. Dell has bought Wyse, W-Y-S-E. For those of you who don't know what Wyse is, it's what's called a cloud client or a thin client. Basically, it's a little box that would sit maybe in a warehouse or something like that instead of a full computer, and it would make a virtual Windows screen on a regular screen. So you'd use a keyboard, mouse, and a monitor. But if the network was down, you couldn't use that box at all. So Wyse, it's been around for years, and I've used it in many different professional situations. Dell purchases Wyse, and I don't think there was a term on that. Oh yeah, it was a $375 million. They're going to get about 500 employees out of this, including 140 software engineers and 250 sales specialists, and channel members of 3,000 worldwide. Last year, it looks like Wyse shipped about 20 million units. So there's definitely play to get into the cloud with virtualization. Of course, virtualization's been around forever, and you might not have used it yourself, But if you were a warehouse worker, you probably had that. If you worked as a teller at a bank, chances are the little computer underneath is a what's called a dumb terminal rather than an actual computer. So that's over at zdnet.com. Check that out. All right, Nokia is filing for a patent on a vibrating tattoo. That's over at Geek News Central. Check that out. Of course, we talked about the vibrating tattoo last week, I believe. And so Nokia wants to really make it so it's their little play. Of course, Nokia needs, like I said last week, Nokia needs stuff. If their phones just don't cut it, they need things like patents so they can stay alive. So this would be one of them. Apparently, there's a way to actually there's a certain type of ink that would make it so the tattoo would then vibrate. And then instead of your pocket vibrating, your arm would also vibrate, or wherever you would have the tattoo. So pretty cool stuff. Would you ink up your body just to get your phone to vibrate a little bit harder? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. I've got a tattoo, and I don't think I'd do that myself. So anyway, let's move on from here, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a big Fiskar fan, which is not the scissors but the car, the new Fiskar, what was this called? The Fiskar vehicle Karma was released. Of course, we've got pictures of it over at /gear.com. They got those pictures from some auto magazine, so you can check that out over at /gear.com. And then finally, for all of you that are then my link's over. Hello, how you doing? I was looking over. I don't know. Anyway, let's move over here. I've lost control of my thought. Anyway, they're a future telescope, exabyte processing, so they can look deeper and better into space and pull up maps and find little aliens and spores and stuff like that. Pretty cool stuff. You can check that out over at arstechnica.com. Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of the tech session of Geek Smack. We're going to get you in the Geek Smack, but first of all, this. Stop dreaming, start streaming. That is what the Roku is all about. You know, I talked about actually uncutting my cable here, but it doesn't change the fact that I use my Roku tenfold. It's just that I'm getting rid of Netflix. I'm actually going to I got Amazon Prime already. And of course, I have Hulu Plus, and I'm not getting rid of Hulu Plus. And of course, I can also get the other stuff. The best part about my Roku is I uncut my cable, but I only got the SD channels. If I want to watch anything in high definition, I either have to watch over the air or on my Roku, and I do a lot of that. We still watch movies, still rent movies, still watch a lot of TV. Last night I caught up on Shark Tank, which I missed a couple episodes. So I catch up on that, and I keep going, and that's the beauty of Roku. Prices start at $49. Of course, if you want to get Angry Birds in HD, then you want to get the XS version, which is $99. But if you go over to geekazine.com/Roku, geekazine.com/Roku, you can find out the power of over-the-top television. This is America's #1 box still. And if you're looking at all the over-the-top television solutions, this has the most channels for you. So check it out over at Roku.com, geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, that helps Geekazine. Thank you.
Geek Smack.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Geek Smack. This is the place where we smack the geek out of you like escalators with Pantene. And you're going, what? Well, that's the first link that we're going to be talking about on the geek side of Geek Smack, and we're going to be going over to a place called 9gag.com, the number 9, GAG.com. Pretty interesting. They've got a bunch of pictures here, and these pictures, let's just do it this way. These are pictures of some of the art that's out there, like for instance this one, this escalator. It looks like a whole strand of hair, and of course at the end it says Pantene. There's another escalator which on the steps it looks like people on roller coasters. And then, of course, they show that, and I'm not sure what that's for. Can't really read the mat, which is where they're talking about. And of course, they've got a lot of cool stuff. Here's an elevator that looks like the floor is completely destroyed, but it's actually a joke, and that's some pretty good artwork. And of course, I think that's for coffee, because it's got a picture, like a little ad for coffee on the wall, and I think it's in Arabic, so I can't really read it, but I bet you it says something like that. Have you noticed or look before you leap or something like that, or wake up, or maybe probably wake up, I would guess. So pretty cool stuff. This is over at 9gag.com. New website, of course. If there's any problems, let me know and we'll change the website. All right, over at slashgear.com, they're talking about Instagram. Of course, I've had Instagram on my iPhone for about 2 years now. Instagram is now released for the Android. That happened a little bit earlier today. A lot of people are really excited. But the reality for me is I've used Instagram and then stopped using Instagram. It's another program that I have to load up. And I have a feeling, especially with Android users, where they've always had problems with their batteries, and having programs load and stay loaded, that a lot of people are going to use Instagram at the beginning, but then it's just going to die off. Instagram, I like it. I really think that somebody like Facebook or Google Plus needs to buy Instagram and incorporate it into an all-in-one. Maybe I wish I could say it with TweetDeck, but with TweetDeck's problems, as you probably heard over the weekend, TweetDeck was taken down because a hacker found a way to get in. But if TweetDeck or Hootsuite, there's a perfect example. If Hootsuite was to take over Instagram, I think I would use it more. So what do you think? Would you use it more? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. All right, all you iPad fans out there, Alfred E. Newman has come to the iPad, apparently Mad Magazine, and this is over on gizmodo.com. Mad Magazine is taking all their copies and they're digitizing them and putting them up on the iPad. You can get current copies for $4.99. I believe the past copies are $2.99, but then of course you can get a yearly subscription for $10. Now, I don't know, well, of course they won't come with the records like the Mad Magazines of past, but they will probably have the foldable, the last page where you fold it in and get the political message. I'm hoping that they're going to have that. Can't wait to see it. I have to download it for my iPad, and maybe I will talk about an iPad 365. I normally don't I have a policy not to talk about magazines, but I'm trying to figure a way to work in magazines on that. In the meantime, check this out over at gizmodo.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit.ly links that I've put in here, and yes, they do go to my Amazon affiliate. These are 5 t-shirts that I'd like to see, or I'd like to actually get. The first one, of course, is Rock, Paper, Scissors Lizard Spock shirt. It doesn't have dynamite, though. I don't know why. The Periodic Bacon shirt, which is beryllium, selenium, and nitrogen. I believe barium, cobalt, and nitrogen. That's right. That spells bacon. And, of course, I Breathe the Geek t-shirt, which, if you look at the picture a little bit closely, you'll see a whole bunch of geek stuff inside the lungs. You read my t-shirt. This is a social networking t-shirt I like a lot. You read my t-shirt, and that's enough social networking for today. And then, of course, the reason why I first started this was the Bazinga, the Big Bang Theory Bazinga men's t-shirt. And, of course, I got that in a bit.ly link, and that goes to bit.ly Bundles, which is a new service that bit.ly offers. So check that out over at geekazine.com. It's in the show notes. New website, worldviewediting.com, excuse me. Patricia Redsicker, she created a nice little infographic, 10 reasons business blogging is better than Facebook. And I can tell you the number one reason why I business blog before I put it on Facebook is because of the fact that within 6 months, that blog, well, at least at the time, that post will pretty much be buried. But there's a lot of reasons why. Number 10, I'm not too on, it says stability. But I think Facebook is poisoning themselves, so they're going to be around for a very long time, even if they get bought out by somebody else. SEO is another one. You can be searched. You can't be searched on Facebook, but you can be searched on your blog. And, of course, you can choose your shelf life. And that's the important thing for me right there. There's a lot more. And, of course, I should be showing you this infographic. There it is right there. It's top 10 reasons that you should be blogging over Facebooking. And I totally agree in part of those 10. There's a couple, like I said, probably not as much, but it's still important. All right, let's go over to irishtimes.com because I am Irish, and we've got to talk about the Irish. And we talk about hermit crabs. Hermit crabs living in Legos. That's right. Somebody made a Lego shell for this hermit crab, and he made it his home. So I don't know if it's glued or not, or if it just completely detaches, so you can make a bathroom and a family room or something like that. But you can check that out. This is over at irishtimes.com. When Irish Times are smiling, you got it over there on the Geek Smack. Would you sell your startup right now if I gave you $600,000? This is over on entrepreneur.com. And of course, like I said, I watch Shark Tank. I like that show a lot. Of course, people like Mark Cuban and just blanked on some of the other names. Laurie Grenier, who was with the QVC. They all are sitting there, and you pitch them your idea, and they say, we like it, we want to be part of it, or they pass, and they're out. And very, very cool show. I watch it. It's on every single Friday night. Of course, you can watch back episodes up on Hulu Plus. So that's what I really liked about it. That's what I was watching last night. Barbara Cochran. It's not Cochran, I believe is how you pronounce the name. She's one of the sharks on the Shark Tank. So basically, I'd love to actually pitch to them an idea up on the Shark Tank if I had a good idea that could be pitched. But they talk about that, and there was one episode where this guy had this wine balloon, which was basically this thing that you put into the wine bottle and inflated and got out all the air so the wine would stay fresh. And they went through a bidding war, and the guy just kind of... the guy was kind of weird. And there's a lot of these guys that are kind of weird. In fact, the episode I watched last night, the guy was pitching to him for the patent, and they wanted a part of the company. But he had Steve Wozniak on the phone, who was apparently part of this company, saying, no, just pitch for the patent. And they said no. And then the guy just basically said, well, you're out, and then walked out. Before the Sharks could say, I don't want part of this, he just said, forget it, and walked out, which was kind of a bold move on his part. But, it is what it is. So, pretty interesting article. What would you do? Would you sell, if you came up with an idea like this water bottle right here? Oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I think I'll make $1 billion off of it, but I'm having a really hard time trying to market this water bottle. So I'm going to take it to a shark who will then market it for me. And then they say, I'll pay you $600,000 so you can and I'll buy out your idea. Do you take it? I'll try for a bit of a little percentage of it, even if it's 2% of that water bottle. But for the most part, a lot of times I'll probably say yes. I can always find another idea. Interesting stuff. Check it out. It's over at entrepreneur.com. All right. Going over another article I had. There we go. I posted this a little bit earlier. It's a Yoda cake. Eat me you will, I posted, and of course my friend Joseph Lee found that. It's the Yoda cake, and of course you can check that out. I got it pointed over at Google Plus. You can check it out there. Another one which looks like it didn't load the web page. Let's just hit the refresh button really quick. Finally, I'm gonna just back here. Finally, one more here, and of course, I think I got another one here. Nope, one more here. Lieutenant Uhura is running for school board in Madison. I voted today. Of course, today was the day to vote for presidential nominee for the next election primary, and of course I voted. But this one was just amazing. I couldn't resist. Madison Metropolitan School District school board member. It was either between Arlene Silveria or Nichelle Nichols. Now, if you don't know who Nichelle Nichols is, that's not Nichelle Nichols, but the real Nichelle, or the other Nichelle Nichols, it was actually Lieutenant O'Hara on Star Trek. So anyway, I just thought that would be a little funny. I snapped that on my iPhone, and of course I loaded it up there so you can see it. So if you want to vote for Nichelle Nichols, of course, it's probably too late for you to do that. And if you don't live in Wisconsin, Madison for that matter, you can't do it anyway. So. But anyway, that's it for the show, for the first half of the show. What am I doing? I'm doing the wrong one here. Got a question, got a comment, did you like what you saw? Did you not like what you saw? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. All right, we're going to come right back, and when we do, we're going to talk about how my computer is not refreshing right. There we go. We're going to talk about Apple and their run for $1,000 a share. Of course, we have the audio show of Geekazine over on Stitcher Internet Radio, smart radio for your smart device, whether it be an iPhone, an Android, a BlackBerry, a WebOS, or another device. You can pretty much get Stitcher Internet Radio on anything. I can get it on my PCs too. You just go over to Stitcher.com and you can listen. You log in, you listen. And of course, you can listen to a lot of great podcasts. I have all my podcasts up there, from Geek Smack, of course, and Day in Tech History to iPad 365. And the special media feed too. Whenever I do audio and it's actually understandable in an audio format, then I will do an audio version and it'll show up on Stitcher. Great program. When I go for my walk every single day, I put in my earphones and I listen to my favorite podcasts on Stitcher. And that's the best part, is once a podcast is done, it goes to the next podcast. And some of those podcast aggregators out there don't even do that. And they require you to download the podcast. I just bit my tongue there, sorry. Download the podcast and then listen to the podcast. And then when it's done, it just doesn't know to go to the next one. I just don't get that. It's just so silly. But Stitcher does do that. And that's what I like about Stitcher. Check it out yourself. If you download it, if you put in your email address and you download the application, you're registered to win a $100 cash card. And they do that to draw at the end of the month. So go over to Stitcher.com/geek, Stitcher.com/geek, and you could win yourself $100. Good luck from Stitcher. All right, finally. Hey, first of all, Geekazine.com. Twitter me at Geekazine. That's where you can find me. I post every single day. I do social media tips once a day at about 9:15 a.m. 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. So just got to watch out for that. Or of course, follow the hashtag social media tips, and you'll find out. I put one out every single day, so check it out. All right, is Apple stock heading to the heavens or heading for a crash? That's what we're going to talk about today, because Apple is actually poised to get to $1,000 a share, probably by the end of this year. That's what some analysts are really seeing in Apple stock, and it's looking like Apple could also poise to become the first company to hit $1 trillion in revenue. They're at $108 billion right now, but the way that they're looking, it's very possible within the next few years they're going to hit $1 trillion. It's an amazing feat, and they have their fanboys to thank for that, I think. I do have to admit, my household has become more Apple-centric than ever before. I have the MacBook Pro to the left of me. I have my iPad, which is sitting over there. And of course, I got my iPhone, which is over on the table over there. It's more than I've ever had before. I also have a G4 sitting in the basement. And, even though I still live in a Windows world, this machine 90% of the time is loaded with Windows 7. This has got Windows 7, that's got Windows 7, and when Windows 8 comes out, I'll most likely switch up to Windows 8. Now, some people have been heralding Tim Cook for continuing the trend that Steve Jobs started back before, of course, he passed away. And a lot of people that have been drinking this Kool-Aid, have been following it, and that's the beautiful thing, is even when Steve Jobs did pass away, they didn't lose a beat. They kept going, and now they're looking even better to be the company to completely beat. I said it before, I'll say it again. Steve Jobs, of course, was the pirate. We knew that. That's what they talked about, the pirate days at Apple back in the 80s versus the suits. I call Tim Cook the business person, the cultured business person by Steve Jobs, to take the company and take it to the next level. Cook's going to make some mistakes. It's going to happen. But Cook's business knowledge is going to prevail. They're going to float for the next few years on the products they have, the Apple TV, the iPad, the iPhone, because, right now they're at the top of the market. And to try and beat them is almost impossible. Even though you've got Android tablets out there, a lot of people still want an iPad. Now, many issues arose after Jobs' death. Now, this is the key right here. Foxconn staffing issues. We knew about that, but it was always downplayed. And then when Steve Jobs passed on, it just seemed to come to the forefront. You know, a lot like a lot of governors and other politicians, when they move on and then the next regime takes over, there's always problems that they seem, the little cover-ups, and I'm not really calling it a cover-up, but little things that that you didn't notice before all of a sudden come to the forefront. And I was expecting that. And that's why I said Tim Cook has taken over the reins and he's done it beautifully, because not only did the stock not drop for Apple, it rose. In fact, when Tim Cook took over, stock was at something around $400 a share, and now it's at $628 a share last time I looked today. Now, Apple rides high after pioneering the MP3 player, the smartphone, and of course, technically, the tablet. We've had tablets before, but of course, with the iPad, that was the tablet without a keyboard. Now, if you think about it, how many people said in 2010, oh, I'm not going to own no tablet? I can tell you one thing, I was one of them. I didn't want a tablet at that time. I didn't think that it could actually do anything more or wouldn't be a powerful machine. In fact, my tablet actually pretty much matches this computer right here, with the exception of hard drive. This thing would overpower it simply because of the fact it's got a larger hard drive. I can actually store more stuff onto it. Now, all during this time, like I said, Apple's stock rose. 10 years ago, I was actually considering to buy Apple stock. It was at $12.37. I should have bought it. Could you imagine how much money I'd have with just 1,000 shares? Even last year, this time last year, stock was at $238 a share. And now it's at $628 a share, almost tripling in the last year. So they're expecting that by this time next year, they're going to break the $1,000 a share mark. They're not the first company to do it, but it's a very impressive. I think they're the first. No, they're not even the first tech company to do that. But the whole point is that they're going to hit $1,000 a share. They could go up to, if they follow the same trend, they could go up to $1,800 a share. But more likely, I'd say $1,200 to $1,500 a share by this time next year. So if I would have invested $12.37 on 1,000 shares, and it goes over $1,000, 1,000 times 1,000, I would have been a millionaire. It happens. What can you do? In the meantime, the real question is, are they getting too high? Are they riding on some magic escalator that's going to go absolutely nowhere? Do they have innovation with their machines, with their products, that they can continue to ride this wave and actually do $1 trillion in revenue? I mean, the Mac is actually two to three times more than the PC. Actually, almost five times more. This was a $500 machine, where this was a $2,500 machine. Granted, this machine is not as powerful as this machine by far, but the average person needs this machine over this machine. I need this machine. So the real question is, will they be able to ride and keep the prices high? They've been called out by President Obama to try and become more of a U.S. player, and they've been called out by Foxconn. So, or not called out by Foxconn, but the people have called Foxconn out for them. So what's going to happen with Apple? Can they continue to ride it? Will they continue to work Foxconn in? Will they bring everything to the United States? Will they hit $1 trillion in revenue like analysts believe? These are things that are going to happen. And the most important is, will everybody, all the fanboys, be completely shocked if that thing just completely falls off the horse and goes from $1,000 a share down to $12 a share once again? Things to think about. I don't know. I don't think that's going to actually happen. I think that they'll be good, and they won't have to worry about the rise to fame and the fall, stock bubble burst or collapse or something like that. I suppose if the stock market collapsed, then Apple's going to collapse too. That's just a way it happens. You know, in December 2012, if the Mayans are right, there's going to be no Apple. Then again, there won't be no Geekazine, and there won't be no me, there won't be no you. It'll be life started over, unless you're very lucky, and you ride through it and you actually survive. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think Apple's going to be around for a long time, or are they going to kind of be gone in the next 5-10 years? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine, or of course, geekazine@gmail.com. Went a little bit long on that last part. I apologize for that, but it's a very interesting segment part where Apple's poised to actually break records, and that's amazing. So, anyway, we also have the hotline 608-205-4378. You can call that anytime, anywhere on your mobile device. And of course, you can check me out over at Geekazine.com. Remember to subscribe to Geekazine and subscribe to iPad 365, and of course, Day in Tech History on its own website over at www.dayintechhistory.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that's the show for today. I hope you liked it. If not, let me know what you didn't like about it. For iPad 365, I also have a survey over at geekazine.com/survey. You can take that and let me know what you like and don't like. And of course, friend me up on Twitter, friend me up on Facebook, friend me up on Google+, and we'll be friends forever. That's what I like to be. And maybe we'll get one of those little heart pendants, and you get one half and I get another, and then we'll find each other, and it'll be a happy day. I don't know. It's possible. Could happen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm out of here. Thanks a lot for watching Geek Smack. We will be back next Tuesday. I did my schedule wrong. Next Tuesday, we got one more show, and then the week after, I'm going to San Francisco for a Ford drive. Won't be able to do a show. Maybe I'll do it. We'll see what happens. But, of course, we will be back next week, so we'll see you then. You guys geek out, and see you next week. Take care.